CBC's investigative team has spent more than a year analyzing data from nearly 400 cases of intimate partner homicide in Canada over a 5.5-year period. Tonight, we're getting to take a closer look at Saskatchewan's homicides and what our own experts say needs to happen. Reporter Kendall Latimer joins me now to talk about this. Kendall, what do we know about the cases here in Saskatchewan?
Well, Sam, we know that 37 people in Saskatchewan were killed by their current or former partners or spouses between January 2015 and June 2020. Of these 37 victims, we know that at least 17 were Indigenous. We also know that 8 were men and 29 were women. And the majority of those women were mothers, many of whom had more than one child. The data collected by CBC shows a pattern here that the majority of these women were either in the process of trying to leave their partners or had recently separated from them just before they were killed. Now, experts have also pointed out this deadly pattern and agree that the most dangerous time for victims in abusive relationships is when they're trying to get out. For example, we have the case of Abby Spear. The 33-year-old from Yellowgrass, Saskatchewan, left her common-law spouse in 2017. He stabbed her to death and eventually pleaded guilty to murder. Another critical warning sign is coercive control. Now, this isn't physical violence or physical behavior. This is controlling behavior that could involve controlling someone's finances, extreme jealousy, and other patterns like that. Take, for example, the case of Lisa Strang. Her family says that these were warning signs exhibited in her relationship. Her husband shot her in August 2015.
Kendall, what can police do to intervene in those circumstances?
Well, Sam, not much, not without physical violence. We know that in the majority of cases that we examined in this data set that so many Saskatchewan women had actually reached out to police before they were killed. One woman contacted police at least 6 times. And then there's the case of Regina victim Jenny McKay, for example. She called 911 multiple times, including just days before her death, saying that she feared for her life and was afraid of her partner. This is why experts and advocates want to see coercive control criminalized and made a chargeable offense under the criminal code.
Now, if those are the things that are happening to you or me, and I go to the police and say, look, my partner is doing all these things to me, the police right now are going to look at me and say, sorry, none of those are chargeable offenses. We can't help you. So here's me as a shelter worker sitting across from a woman who's terrified and been told there's nothing police can do. And again, there are patterns in this work, in this issue. Very often I would hear, what, they won't help me until he kills me?
Right now, it's extremely difficult to get any kind of a protective order or have conditions put on someone who's perpetrating the behavior if there's no physical violence, if there's no criminal code offense being committed. So to have coercive controlling behavior be a criminal code offense, that would allow some recourse for survivors and, very importantly, help to put safety measures in place.
So what else do experts want to see in Saskatchewan?
Well, more programming and more counseling opportunities for people that are actually engaging in this abusive behavior. So, for example, in other jurisdictions, there's Nova Scotia that's rolled out a helpline just for men. And over in Alberta, they're piloting a shelter that's just for abusive men. And another big ask is early prevention education. Expert Joanne Duzel says she's been pushing for changes to the curriculum for years, and there's been little uptake.
We need to start where the problem begins, which is attitudes in which women and girls are valued less, attitudes in which boys and men's self-worth is tied up in their ability to dominate others, attitudes that state that women and girls are property belonging to their father or their husband, and when that the ability to control that property, metaphorically, through separation is threatened, that's when the most danger occurs. So what is the solution? You work with boys and girls from a very young age, age appropriate.
Duzel says that teaching young boys and girls age-appropriate lessons about unhealthy behavior can help stop the cycles of violence.
Thanks so much for this, Kendall.
Sam.
CBC reporter Kendall Latimer in Saskatoon. You can read more from our Deadly Relationship series at cbc.ca/sask.